Good evening. I would like to introduce our chapter president, Elizabeth Chittister.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Mrs. Lightsky, Ms. Rogers, Mrs. Sipes, members of faculty, parents, and students, welcome to the 2019 National Honor Society Induction Ceremony. We are gathered here to formally recognize those students who have been selected by the faculty of our school for successfully completing their candidacy and being inducted as new members of the NHS chapter. For current members and those former members who may be among our guests, we hope this will serve to remind you of the standards of excellence you too are charged with maintaining as members of the nation's oldest, largest, and most prestigious student recognition program. Our chapter is proud to have been inducting new members since 1956, and with today's ceremony indicates the continuing emphasis on excellence that we represent for our school and community. Throughout the year, members of our chapters serve as role models for our students. In addition to the strong academic records which establish the eligibility for membership, our chapter members are leaders in many student organizations, and we serve our school and community through many activities including Special Olympics, Day of Champions, reading to elementary school students, and helping to keep the school clean. We are proud of this record of accomplishment and welcome these new members who bring new energy in support of our continuing work as NHS members. It is at this time that we proclaim to all in attendance that membership in the Safford chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by these candidates through the effective demonstration of the 4 qualities that serve as the standards for this society. Members of the chapter will now review these qualities for the candidates. We'll begin with leadership by Sean.
Leadership should exert a wholesome influence on our school. In taking initiative in the classroom and in school activities, the real leader strives to train and aid others to reach their common goals of success. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in the school, community, or nation, they are ineffectual without the guidance of a wise leader. Leadership is always needed. Thus, to lead is a meaningful and substantial charge to each of our members. I'd like to use my favorite quote about leadership from Tom Landry. He says, "Leadership is getting to know someone, or getting someone to do what they don't want to do in order to achieve what they want to achieve." Next will be Grant speaking on service.
A quotation from Mahatma Gandhi states, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." Service can be established in the routine of the day's work where many opportunities arise to help others both at school and in the community. A willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compensation or public recognition is the quality we seek in our membership and promote for the entire student body. We are committed to volunteering our time and talents to the creation of a better tomorrow. Next is Brandon Taylor with character.
I'd like to start off with a quote by Winston Churchill. He states, "Never does a man portray his character more vividly than when proclaiming the character of another." Character is the force within the individual that distinguishes each person from others. It creates for each of us our individuality, our goodness. It is that without which no one can respect oneself nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is this force of character that guides one through life and, once developed, grows steadily within. Character is achieved and not received. It is the product of constant thought and action, the daily striving to make the right choice. The problem of character is the problem of self-control. We must be, in reality, what we wish to appear to others, to be rather than to seem. By demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, caring, and citizenship, we may hope to prove by example that we value character. Next up, we have Adam Wright with scholarship.
Scholarship denotes a commitment to learning. A student is willing to spend hours in reading and study, knowing the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We should continue to learn even when formal education has ended, for human education ends only with the end of life. Knowledge is one great element in life, which leads to the highest success, and it can be acquired in only one way, through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp by which we read the past, the torch guiding us to understand the present, and the light that illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherited in scholarship. And I like to read a quote by Ralph Emerson that says, "Scholarship is to be created not by compulsion, but by awakening a pure interest in knowledge." And next we have Lane introducing our guest speaker.
I will be introducing our guest speaker tonight, Mr. Tad Jacobson. Mr. Jacobson graduated from Safford High School in 1994. From there, he got his bachelor's degree from Prescott College in 2004 and got his master's degree in coaching and administration in 2013 from Concord University. He currently is the assistant principal and athletic director at Vincent High School. Before that, he taught at Safford for 14 years, as well as coached girls and boys basketball, softball, baseball, tennis, and kept stats for the football team. He also organized and ran the Renaissance Assembly for 13 years. Mr. Jacobson also helped create Link Crew, as well as being a main contributor to creating our modified 5-day schedule and many other things to help improve Safford High School. And now I ask you to please give your attention for Mr. Jacobson.
Thank you, Lane. You forgot to mention that I like to help little old ladies cross the street every day if I can. No problem. No one's mad at you. Real quick, it's a real honor for me to be here. Bonnie Sipes, I got the privilege of working with her for a couple years here at Safford, and what a fantastic woman she is, and can't think of a better person to be in charge of the National Honor Society than Bonnie. And I'm honored to be here and that she even thought of me to address the kids. And I've been in this situation a few times and speaking of baccalaureate and things, and I've written speeches, and the 2 times I've had to do it with baccalaureate, I've written speeches out and I've set the timer on the stove, and I've given myself like 20 minutes and had my wife endure a speech with several quotes and different things. And as I approached the podium and I looked at all these graduates or different people, I look at them and I kind of scrap it and I kind of shoot from the hip, and it's worked out. So today I wrote down some things, and Bonnie wanted me to specifically talk about service. And I would consider myself someone that enjoys saying yes when asked to do things for selfish reasons. One is because I enjoy the way I feel after I'm done helping someone, and I enjoy looking at them and the way they feel about being helped. And so I would tell these new kids coming up and that are going to be new members that, first of all, congratulations. Being in NHS it's a difficult task to be a part of this. It's a tough. I used to read for 10 years. I was on the committee to pick the National Honor Society kids, and they never give you a name, which is a good thing. So you're picked by your teachers, and they don't know who you are until you sit down, you're a number, and then it's the only fair way to do it. And until you get a parent calling saying, "Why didn't my kid make it to the NHS?" and you hope the principal doesn't tell them that you're on the committee. So I want to share with you is the people that growing up in Safford and going through school is kind of weird, because one of the people I wrote down as someone that's influenced me to be service is sitting here. I had no idea that his daughter was of age to be in this club. But John Boniface, I wrote his name down as someone that has been influenced to me. When I was in high school, John Boniface was my principal. And he probably doesn't know this, and I think maybe I've shared it with him, and I've definitely talked to his daughter as a committee member a few years ago when we had the all-school reunion, and I made a little bit of a plea to the committee about who should be the Grand Marshal. I've always looked up to John Boniface. Him and JT Cotter and Ed Ragland are three guys that I've been lucky enough to cross paths with in some form or another. And Ed with basketball, Ed Ragland is a huge service to our community. For 40 plus years, he has taken upon himself to organize basketball for 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, and he did it for us when we were kids. As a head coach here, he was instrumental in helping me build relationships with younger kids, and as a head coach, I really understood what that was all about, building relationships with the younger kids. And so Ed I have down as someone that was a person that taught me a little bit about service. John, again, getting back to John, as a principal, I was probably not ever going to be in the National Honor Society. I know that's hard to believe. Tori's laughing. Sorry, Miss Lasky's laughing. I had a little bit of a tough time in high school. I wasn't a coachable person. I didn't have a lot of respect for people, and that's where John Boniface and JT Cotter helped me learn about being a young man and becoming a man. John, when I turned 18, the beginning of my senior year, November of my senior year, we had there was a procedure to be able to check yourself in and out of school. And you had to talk to Mr. Boniface. Hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but everybody was deathly afraid of Mr. Boniface. I see him smiling now, but I didn't see him smiling a whole lot in high school. He had some nicknames, I won't bring them up here, but he was pretty loud and tough. But under all that was a guy that cared about making kids better, and he made me better. I remember that meeting particularly because he sat down and said, "Tad, you made some pretty dumb mistakes. You know, you got a rap sheet, Mr. Moon." I used to go to the moon a lot, and but I'll tell you what. I think that if I give you an opportunity, you'll make right on it. And I want to give you a chance. And I remember what that felt like. I remember feeling, man, I can't let this guy down. I remember talking to JT about it because I had JT my sophomore year for driver's ed, and I got kicked out of his class all the time, and I did stupid stuff in cars, and JT told me one day I'd grow up and he'd see a different me and he couldn't wait. And my senior year, he became my favorite teacher. When I told him I was going back to become a teacher, I went to his house and I had some tears with him. I told him that he had gotten me to a point that I really wanted to be a teacher, and I wanted to watch kids grow, and I wanted to see them change. And that old man had tears in his eyes. I've been able to see that for myself. I taught freshmen and sophomores most of the time, and they're brats, they're bunks, but I learned how to deal with them. I learned to be friendly with them, and it's because of these examples of service and giving people chances. And I loved watching them graduate. I loved being a part of that process with them. So those are the people and they were also on the city council. A couple things that John did. He's real active in the FFA. He serves for free. He's on the Scout Scholarship Foundation. I'm like 20 years younger than he is, and he can work circles around anybody. He's always on the move. It's amazing to watch him go. He's a city councilman. He really cares about our community. So John, I had no idea you're going to be here, but I'm glad I get to tell you this personally. I've always watched him from afar, and what I also like about John is he hates adulation. When me and Randa put him in the back of that truck, I was glad I was about 25 feet away from him. He doesn't like a lot of attention. That's one thing I've always respected about him as well. Some of the teachers, I wanted to tell these kids, some of the teachers that are still around while I was in high school are Peggy Moon. I was a problem for Peggy Moon. I had her for freshman science. This is embarrassing, kind of, but I went to work at Safford. Peggy was so kind to me, and she was assistant principal, so she had taken her husband's role, and so there's another trip to the moon. I told my own kids, don't ever go to the moon, man. It's a dark place, dark side of the moon right there. But she was a teacher and assistant principal, and what I always remember about Peggy is being always there for kids and things like that. And as I worked with her, she was always there for our staff. She served our staff so well. We have this recognition dinner at the end of each year, and she goes out of her way to create funds and create opportunities to give people in our profession a hand, and celebrate them. And I've never cried about being a teacher or anything like that, but those kind of moments are few and far between a lot of the time. And Peggy did those kind of things for staff members, and she still does those, I think. For years, she really wants to make everybody that's working here feel real good. And Peggy Moon was a great person that served, and I learned a lot from her. Sandra Hirado, the reason I really have a great relationship with Sandra is that she was a substitute teacher when I was a student here, and I remember her working a couple of jobs. She was a permanent sub for one of our teachers, and she was working a couple of jobs and talking to us in Spanish, and we knew how hard she was working to become a teacher. She got her start a little bit later in life. She was a little bit older when she got her degree, and she worked and worked and worked, and I think my senior year she became a full-time teacher. We were real excited for her because she had built this real good friendship with our class. And things that she's accomplished that I've seen her do is she's obviously a hard worker, but she started a Spanish club my senior year, and we had our very first Cinco de Mayo assembly be 25 years this year. And I can remember it like it was yesterday because she asked me to dance at it, and I did. And it was a lot of fun, and she started Spanish Club, Cinco de Mayo. She's been teaching at EA when she can. She's the type of person that really helps the Solomon community out and the church at Solomon, and she organizes and fundraises and does things for youth groups. She's a passionate person. She's someone that cares a lot about kids and serves kids. She's someone that's very important to me. I wrote down BB. BB's, I got to share an office with him 1 year here, and I've known him, it seems like everybody knows BB, right? What did I learn from BB? That green sucks, and Thatcher sucks, and the Safford Bulldogs is the only way to go. I learned about tradition and pride from BB, and he's the type of guy, much like Mr. Boniface, that would try to help somebody without getting any kind of recognition. Some of my mentors, when I first started teaching, were friends of mine. I student taught with Mike Durrell and Clay Cook. I was able to have two mentor teachers, and both of those guys were friends of my older brother, and I was a bratty little brother to them mostly, but I learned a lot of great things from both of those guys in coaching and teaching. I sure think the world of those guys, and sometimes I envy all these guys right now because they're still teaching. I miss the classroom so much. A couple more people that come to mind. and that serve people on a regular basis is one of my dearest friends, Chris Murphy. Years ago, I've been in and out of Murphy's music shop for a long time. He asked me, I was working at Fort Thomas, and I told him I've never been more in love with a culture than I was with Fort Thomas. I love those people. And he asked me about teaching. We started talking about teaching. And I told him that, you know, he's going to get his degree out of getting an education because it's the most rewarding thing you can do. And about 6 years ago, we jumped in, and it's been such a fun ride. I worked with him real closely for many years, and we were always thinking of creative ways to do things that students would enjoy, that they would enjoy coming to school, and also do things for staff members. I guess I'm getting emotional because I'll stick to the program here. Chris has served on the fire department. He continuously looks for ways to help serve people, and that's the point of what we're talking about here. Lastly, even though she laughed at me, I'll tell you this much. A few years ago, I was going through some struggles, and a new teacher, not a new teacher, a new admin who just kind of fell into a job, noticed me walking off campus and noticed that there was something different about me. And I can say this now because she doesn't write my evaluations. I don't work here, and I'm not kissing anybody's butt, and I don't care. But I've told her this in person, and I've thanked her for it. I was having a little bit of a pity me party. I was feeling not very respected and feeling hurt. And Miss Lightsky, we had a real talk. And what I like about Miss Lightsky, kids, is that she's got a pretty tough job. I'm realizing that a little bit more every day. But she absolutely has a passion for kids. I didn't realize how much I love kids, and I know that sounds crazy. In today's day and age, you shouldn't say that out loud until I wasn't around them anymore. I learned more. I learned a lot more from kids than they'll ever learn from me. They kept me up. It was a pleasure to serve them. I always wanted to be my best when I was in my classroom. So my challenge to you kids is to always be your best and serve people. Realize how fortunate you are, to be here at Safford High School. These are just some of the people that I've either been in contact with or worked with. I believe there's 40-something teachers that feel the same way about you. Nobody gets into this profession for money or fame. The last thing I would tell you is that when you do something good and you feel good about it, you feel really special about it, write it down. Write down how you felt. So when you have those days, you don't have to talk to someone about a pity party. You can read about something. Stay away from taking a selfie over something you did or you should do. I've always been irritated by people that do things and their motivation is to get attention for it. Again, that's why I respect John so much. Being in the shadows and doing good things all the time, to make yourself feel good or make others feel good is what it's about. It's not about I want people to watch what I do and then get attention for it. And I want to publicize how great I am to the world. Do things because it's the right thing to do. Serve people because you love them. And so I congratulate you all for being there. I apologize for getting emotional. One thing I've made mention to a few people as I left this summer, I never really had a chance to say goodbye. So when I kind of walk around, I've stayed away for the most part. I've only been back twice to talk about a few things, but it's a true. Once you're a Bulldog, you're always going to be a Bulldog. And I wish you the best of luck in the future, and congratulations on being a member of the National Honor Society. Thank you. Don't be a thief either.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jacobson. At this time, will all the new inductees please rise, raise your right hand, and repeat the pledge. The audience can follow the text as printed in your program. Okay, please join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge to uphold the high purposes of the National Honor Society, to which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands, and will maintain and encourage the high standards of scholarship, leadership, service, and character. Thank you. You may be seated. And now, as your name is called, please step forward onto the stage to receive your certificate of membership.
After the ceremony, we're going to have all of the inductees come up here so we can do group photos. We're going to call your name one at a time when you come forward. We'd like you to shake Ms. Rogers' hand, my hand, and then work your way down the line all the way to Ms. Lightsky. Jamie Blancarte. McKenna Hawkins. Jocelyn Leone. Andrew Lyons. Jared Montier. Ella Peterson. Sage Romero. Graydon Swan. Emmanuel Torres.
And now, please welcome our principal, Mrs. Lightsky, who will offer congratulatory remarks to the new members.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, you all, I just want to say that this is usually my favorite time of year because it's when I get to stand up here and say congratulations for all of the hard work, because this is when it's proven, this is when all the hard work and the tears, and most of that's just from the moms and dads, is paid off. Work and stay in making sure the late nights, the homework's done, projects are done. So thank you to the parents and to the families who have pushed your kids so hard to accomplish the things that they have. This is a huge honor for them, clearly, but I do think it's extremely important for you all to be acknowledged too. So thank you, parents. And inductees, congratulations, welcome. And I'm hopeful that we'll see a lot of the service that Mr. Jacobson spoke of, and out of you all as we continue trying to kind of rebuild the actual facade and look of Safford High School. So service can always happen. I'll be actually coming and recruiting you all for help. All right. So thank you all again. I appreciate all of your hard work, and congratulations.
I'd like to thank this year's advisors, Mrs. Sipes and Ms. Rogers, for all that they've done, and also these token of our appreciation. If we would come up here. Thank you guys. They've really just done so much. Thank you all for attending our induction ceremony. Please join me once again in applauding all of our new members. And now will all of our newest members come to the front for a picture. Thank you for coming.